Jordan Graham first laid eyes on Cody Lee Johnson at Taco Bell one Sunday night after church. He was popular, talkative, and charismatic. Shortly after, on Halloween 2011, Jordy and Cody officially met at a party. Despite their seemingly different personalities, they hit it off and quickly began dating. Friends and family described Cody as an outgoing young man who loved life, cars, and his new wife, Jordan. On the other hand, she was reserved, so much so that many friends thought the pair made an odd couple. Jordan was shy, timid, and often gave one-word answers to questions. Cody was completely in love with Jordan and later told a friend, "If I could wake up every day under the same roof with the woman I love, I would be happy." Cody started saving money so he could afford to buy Jordan a ring. He proposed in December 2012, 14 months after they officially met. Soon a wedding date was set, June 29th, 2013. Jordan was also excited and said she was the happiest she's been in a long time. She even flew to California in April to help record a song she commissioned from Our Story, Our Song, a company that composes songs for weddings, birthdays, and anniversaries. The owner of the company, Elizabeth Shea, spent time with Jordan and her 16-year-old brother, Michael Rutledge. She quickly noticed how shy Jordan was, saying, "I could tell she was having trouble opening up. She doesn't share a lot of emotion, but lit up and smiled when she talked about the wedding." However, Cody's friends had mixed opinions about the couple getting married, even joking about betting about how long it would take for them to file for divorce. Cody hated it, and once when some friends questioned his reasons for marrying Jordan, he walked out of the restaurant. Cameron Fredrickson had known Cody since he was a teenager. They did anything and everything together, sharing a love for fixing cars and racing. He told his friend not to marry Jordan, saying he was worried about the relationship because it didn't feel healthy. Cody gave everything, and he didn't get much back. One of the couple's friends remembered how Jordan said, "I want to meet a nice guy, get married, I want to have kids, and be a stay-at-home mom. I want to just have my family." For the longest time, Cody always talked about how he wanted a good church girl. That desire connected to Jordan immediately. Cody's friends commented on how she didn't look at him during the ceremony, though there was no sign of what was to come. For many of those close to them, Cody and Jordan were in a happy relationship, but after their wedding, they said Jordan became increasingly irritable. Was she regretting getting married? According to a source close to the bride, she was afraid to have sex with her new husband. On Saturday, June 29th, Cody and Jordan got married at Woodland Park in Kalispell. As Jordan walked down the aisle, she looked at her grandmother, Linda Record, who was crying, and she started to cry too. Later at the receptions, Jordan's maid of honor and self-proclaimed big sister, Kimberly Martinez, told the couple, "The best thing possible happened, and I'm so happy for you too." The newlyweds spent the evening together. It was a one-night honeymoon in Big Fork, a town in Montana's Rocky Mountains. Cody wanted to make the evening special for Jordan and asked one of the bridesmaids to buy flowers for the room. On Sunday, they returned to their new home in Kalispell and started a new life together. Cody returned to work, and Jordan resumed her position as a nanny, where she was most comfortable. Friends and family said she always enjoyed being around children, but Jordan doubted her marriage almost immediately. She texted her maid of honor at 10:30 p.m. 2 nights later. Totally just had a meltdown. I am second guessing everything. I don't know if all of this was the right thing to do. So much happened last night. I just don't know. Kim replied, "About what? Are you okay?" Jordan said she was having second thoughts about marrying Cody and is especially concerned about intimacy. Kim said those feelings were normal. But the next night, she continued to worry. "I cannot freaking pull myself together. I haven't stopped crying since I got married. I wish someone had stood up and asked me what I wanted, but I couldn't go back and change anything. I should be happy, and I just am not. I don't feel like myself." Kim encouraged her to talk to Cody about their relationship problems, though she was afraid to. She didn't want to hurt him, as he seemed so happy. The text messages continued throughout the week. "It's so damn hard. I want my happy self back, but I'm a loser who can't open her mouth and say what I feel." On Sunday, July 7th, Cody and Jordan attended the morning service at Faith Baptist Church. After church, Graham's stepfather, Steve Rutledge, asked Cody if the couple planned to take the kayaks out like they had for the 4th of July, but Cody said Jordan had a surprise for him. Two other friends, Brad Bastel and Eddie Colin, also heard about the surprise Jordan was planning for him. That evening at church service, Steve asked Cody, "So what's the surprise?" Cody said that it hasn't happened yet. Meanwhile, Jordan continued texting Kim about her depression and marriage problems. Kim asked her to talk with Cody and maybe even set up a meeting with the pastor. "Well, I'm talking to him tonight." Kim responded, "I'll pray." Jordan added, "But dead serious, if you don't hear from me, something happened." After church, members usually go out for dinner. Tonight, some went to Wendy's and others went to Dairy Queen. Johnson and Graham were among the last to arrive at Dairy Queen. Around 7:15 p.m., a friend, Lisa Blake, ordered a milkshake with her two children in a nearby booth. Jordan and Cody chatted with other members of their church. Everyone was wondering how married life was treating them. As always, Cody had more to say. As they sat in the booth, Cody played with a pair of 3D glasses. He popped out the lenses, putting them on. "Cody, you look like young Jerry Lewis," Lisa joked. A little after 8 p.m., Cody and Jordan left their church friends at the Dairy Queen, heading home. That would be the last time Lisa and anyone else from their church would see Cody. 2 hours later, he would be dead at the bottom of a cliff at Glacier National Park. Jordan finally worked up the courage to talk to Cody about her feelings. An argument ensued. Hoping to clear things up, they took an evening drive. At 9 p.m., they arrived at the western entrance of Glacier National Park. The sun set shortly before. They drove past Lake McDonald. They parked the car 23 miles north at a place called The Loop, going to the Sun Road. Although Cody had driven, Jordan took the keys as she always did. They left their phones in the car. The park has limited service. It was getting dark, and they started walking along the loop trail. Jordan told Cody that she hated when he spoke to her like a child and that she was not happy. A little further down, they began to walk off the trail. They walked along the bottom of a rock wall, stopping at a stump, they continued to argue. As the atmosphere intensified, Cody grabbed Jordan's arm. She yelled at him to let go, unsure if he was going to pull or push her. Jordan grabbed his hand and brushed it away. She then pushed him on the back with both hands. Cody fell face first nearly 200 feet into the ravine, hitting a rock where his shoes were later found before landing in a pool of water. The impact shattered his right eye socket and caused a 7-inch skull fracture. His legs were badly bruised and several ribs were broken during the fall. His heart was also torn open. Gary Dale, the state medical examiner who performed Cody's autopsy, testified that Cody passed of blunt force trauma and that his injuries were consistent with a car accident. At the top of the cliff, Jordan turned back to the trail, heading for the car. After she left the park, she had service and wrote a text message to Kim. Now I'm freaking out. I don't even know what to do right now. I'm going for a walk or something. Jump off a freaking bridge. I've lost it. She called her brother around 11:15 p.m. and she said she got into an argument with Cody. Jordan wanted her little brother Michael to come to her house so she wouldn't be alone. He agreed to meet. Meanwhile, Kim demanded more information about what happened and where Cody was. Jordan responded, "I talked to him and all it did was cause me to get scratched and him to leave. There's no way I'm going to be able to fall asleep. If I do, I won't wake up." While the text message exchanges between Jordan and Kim were frantic and anxious, the simultaneous text conversation between Jordan and Nikki Blake, a 17-year-old member of her church, were very different in tone. Nikki texted Jordan that the church was having a coupon event. Their conversation progressed from couponing to dance moves. "Dude, you better work on those sweet moves, although you are pretty amazing already." Jordan texted Nikki 2 hours after she pushed her husband off a cliff. Nikki said her dance moves were already superior. Imagine being at a murder trial and the prosecutors are talking about your sick dance moves. Jordan responded, "Whoa, too far, homie. We'd kill it on the dance floor." Back at home, Jordan was sitting in the living room with her younger brother. She told him she was arguing with her husband when he received a text and was picked up by some friends in a dark car with some out-of-state license plates, claiming that was the last time she saw him. She told the same story to Kim, who grew worried over time, asking Jordan if she wanted to go out looking for Cody, who responded, "I really don't want anyone to talk to him today. It all happened so fast. It'll just backfire on me. I'd rather wait to see if he shows up to work in the morning." Michael fell asleep on the couch and Jordan went to Kim's house at 1:20 a.m. Jordan was shaking when she arrived. Kim tried to calm her down and find out more, but she did most of the talking. She later said she seemed more nervous than upset, but people deal with things in different ways. In the morning, Cody didn't look for work. This shocked his best friend and supervisor, Cameron, who said Cody was never late to work. A few hours later, he sent a text at 8:30 a.m. asking where he was and why he was late. There was no response. 2 hours later, he called Cody, but it went straight to voicemail. During lunch, Cameron began calling friends to ask if they had heard from Cody, but no one had. At 4:30 p.m., Jordan texted Cameron, and asked if Cody had come to work. He said he had not. Then she told him a version of the story she had told others, that they had gotten into an argument and he left with friends from Washington. The story made no sense to Cameron, and it was even more confusing when he heard another version of it from someone else. One where Jordan followed the mysterious car to a neighboring town of Hungry Horse before losing track of it. He said the conflicting stories got to him, making him think that Jordan had something to do with it. She said she didn't notice he was gone that morning because she thought he had gone to work, although she also told detectives that Cody's noise often woke her up in the morning. Cameron told her he contacted the police and she didn't have to. Wondering what happened to his friend, Cameron went to their house the next day. No one was home and the back door was unlocked. He went inside and began looking around for any clue as to what happened to his friend, but he found nothing. He then contacted the Kalispell Police Department and the Montana Highway Patrol, also calling every hospital in the area, asking if Cody was involved in an accident. Meanwhile, Jordan was driving around with friends, taking a trip to the Hungry Horse Dam. Her friend Amy Hess said her behavior did not seem appropriate for her husband being missing for over a day, saying she was laughing and texting. She didn't seem interested in helping with the search. While driving back to Kalispell, Jordan received a call from the police sergeant, Chad Zimmerman, asking her to come to the police station for an interview. Shortly after 7 p.m., Jordan walked into the police station. He asked when was the last time she saw her husband. Whenever his friends are in town, he likes to take them up to Glacier National Park, the Hungry Horse Dam, Plains, or sometimes Libby. She said on a recording. Jordan told Chad that Cody left when she was picking up a phone charger she left at the house she was babysitting at earlier that day. This story did not match what Chad heard from others. I'm getting some inconsistencies in what you're telling me, he said. I've been doing this for a long time and I can pick up things about people. I feel like you're not being honest with me. After 30 minutes, Jordan left the police station. Early the next morning, someone at Jordan's parents' house logged into the email farmantony607@gmail.com and emailed Jordan, my name is Tony. There's no bother looking for Cody anymore. He is gone. I saw your post on Twitter and thought I would email you. He had come with some buddies and met up with me on Sunday night in Columbia Falls. He was saying he needed to be with his buddies for a bit and take them for a joyride. 3 of the guys came back saying he had gone for a ride in the woods somewhere. And Cody got out of the car and went for a little walk, and they are positive he fell and he is deceased. Jordan, I don't know who the guys were, but they took off, so call off the missing persons report. Cody is gone for sure. Jordan and her mother, Lindy Rutledge, went to the police department with the email. After Detective Corey Clark read it, he said it looks a little sketchy. He asked Jordan if she knew Tony. She said she didn't. Then he asked her why she was so calm. She said she didn't want to show her emotions in front of other people. And Linda said her daughter was hysterical earlier on the drive to the police station. Corey left the room for a few minutes and Jordan slumped in her chair. I just want to go home. Her mother said, you're just overwhelmed, aren't you? Patting her daughter on the shoulder. A few minutes before noon, Detective Detective Melissa Smith walked into the interview room. She spoke to Corey about the inconsistencies in Jordan's story. She pushed a Miranda rights sheet of paper across the table. Melissa told Jordan that she was not under arrest, but that she had the right to remain silent and that anything she said could be used against her in court. Jordan signed the paper and continued talking to Melissa. Graham told the police a version of the same story she told everyone. They asked to see her phone and her text with Cody, but said she and him always delete their messages at the end of the day. When asked why, she said one of the children in her care likes to use her phone. Melissa asked if they could borrow and inspect her phone. The next day, police began searching Glacier National Park based on information from the email. Jordan joined the search, but witnesses said she appeared disinterested and emotionless throughout. The police department then requested Google for information on Tony's email address. They later discovered that the account was created on an IP address linked to Jordan's parents' computer, and that it was created that day, that afternoon. Jordan went to Glacier Park with friends and family that night. They stopped in the Loop. Jordan got out of the car and wandered the parking lot before walking to the wall she and Cody had been at a few days earlier. Jordan said she wanted to walk down to the wall, but Michael said it was too dark and dangerous. The next afternoon, the group returned to Glacier Park again, this time stopping along the way to hang missing persons posters. They returned to the Loop, and Jordan went to the wall. Despite the treacherous terrain, she jumped over jagged rocks to get a closer look at the ravine. Her family, why she was so interested in the spot. I just have a feeling, she said. After a few minutes of looking at different angles, Jordan stopped and said she had noticed something. Her brother Michael quickly joined her and looked down the cliff. Almost 200 feet below, Cody laid face down in the water. Michael collapsed and began to cry. Jordan calmly walked away from the edge. She got into the car with Cecilia Llewellyn, one of her bridesmaids, and drove down to Lake McDonald Lodge. Cecilia said she was rambling during the drive. Now that we found him, we can call the detective and they can get out of my business. A few minutes later, they walked to the general store and spoke with the location manager, Donna Adams, who called Park Dispatch and reported that a body had been found. She said Jordan was surprisingly calm. At 8:30 p.m., Park Ranger Steve Powers received a call from dispatchers to meet Jordan at Lake McDonald. When he arrived, he spoke to Jordan for a few minutes and asked her to fill out a statement. Her behavior was still suspicious. He said, "I found it odd that she knew where to find him. When I asked about it, she said it was a place he wanted to see before he passed." When Cody was found in the park, Detective Corey was walking his dog. He happens to live in Jordan's neighborhood, and when he passed her house, he noticed something strange in the trash. Inside were love letters, teddy bears, a Valentine's card, and part of a wedding dress. Corey dragged the can back home and dumped the contents into his garage floor. He took a picture of it, then packed it back and dragged it to the door. A little later, he got a call that Cody had been found in the park. When he arrived at the park, Jordan and her friend were returning home. After spending a few hours talking with officials, her friend Hannah Sherrill was driving Cody's car with Jordan back home. Hannah was shaken by what had happened that day and unconsciously was speeding. Jordan said to her, "Don't speed, it's not my car," but now it is. The next morning, July 12th, members of the police department and the FBI walked down to the ravine to Cody. Downstream, investigators found one of his shoes in the water and black cloth. They questioned if it could have been used as a blindfold. His wallet was found and identified, and they identified the body as Cody. After photographs were taken and investigators recorded the scene, Cody was bagged and airlifted out of the ravine. A memorial ceremony was held for him a few days later. During the service, a dinner followed. Some of Cody's friends noticed that Jordan was spending more time on her phone than she was grieving. Due to the suspicious circumstances surrounding Cody's passing, the FBI launched a full investigation in which they reviewed security cameras at the west entrance to Glacier National Park. The footage revealed that at 9:17 p.m. on July 7th, Cody and Jordan entered the park. Later that week, Jordan was called back to the police station. She thought she was going to meet the same detective she spoke with earlier, but when she arrived, she met FBI agent Stacy Smidon. He asked Jordan to give her version of events of July 7th. She told him about a dark car with Washington license plates and his car buddies who wanted a ride. After a while, Stacy stopped her and said he knew she was lying and knew she was in Glacier Park the night Cody passed away. Her eyes filled with tears as she was shown the footage. The first time in the investigation that she showed emotion. In October, Jordan pleaded not guilty to charges of taking Cody's life in both the first degree and second degree, as well as making false statements to authorities. A sentencing date was set for December 9th. She appeared in federal court with her attorneys Andy Nelson and Michael Donahoe. Over the next 2.5 days, federal prosecutors presented evidence that Jordan was considering taking the life of her husband. This would mean she could be charged with taking his life in the first degree, as she premeditated the crime, which is a more serious punishment than taking someone's life spontaneously. More than 30 witnesses took the stand, including Cody's mother, who broke down as she recalled her son's wedding day. He said it was the best day of his life and that he was going to start a family. I've always wanted to be a grandmother, she said. The defense tried to depict Jordan as childlike and unprepared for the responsibilities of marriage. Jordan's lawyers argued for her that the July 7th fall was a tragic accident, and Jordan lied about it because she thought no one would believe her. On December 12th, Jordan shocked the court by pleading guilty to taking Cody's life in the second degree. The judge was clearly surprised. "Do you think you understand what you are doing here?" he asked. "In the next 15 minutes, you could have committed yourself to prison for the rest of your life." After the confession, Jordan was arrested and eventually accepted a plea for the second-degree charges in exchange for full disclosure of what happened. The judge asked Jordan to tell what really happened on the night of July 7th. As she told her story, the stunned courtroom sat in silence. Her mother laid her head on her husband's shoulder and cried quietly. "I just pushed. I wasn't thinking about where we were." Jordan's voice broke as she formally changed her plea. "Guilty," she said softly. "Guilty." Jordan was sentenced to 30 years in prison with 5 years of supervised release. Moments before U.S. Marshals led Jordan away in handcuffs, the judge asked her, "You told different stories to different people. I need you to tell me what happened on the night of July 7th. In 2015, Jordan's lawyers appealed her sentence, arguing that it was excessive. The court ruled in favor of the prosecutors, and she remains imprisoned in Alabama. Additionally, Jordan had to undergo mental health treatment, pay almost $17,000 in restitution for the cost of recovering her husband's body, and pay $100 special assessment fee. When the truth about Cody came out, the couple's family and friends were heartbroken. Jordan's friend said, "I never expected her to be capable of hurting someone, especially someone who would worship her. He would have given her anything at the drop of a hat." After the trial, the judge said he concluded Jordan was very strange and gave irrational reasons for her actions. She was a normal person, at least on the surface, but how does a normal person then take the life of her husband, then lie and mislead law enforcement? Only two people know what happened on the evening of July 7th, and the one who can still speak has not been truthful. Mallory said Jordan had not shown remorse for the crime or respect for law enforcement and the community. She did not seek help for Cody or report the incident to park rangers or police or anyone, but lied repeatedly to law enforcement, family, friends, and community members about the events of that night. She had one concern: herself. "I kept waiting for her to say she was sorry that she took Cody's life, but I didn't hear that. She did not accept responsibility for the life she took." In a letter she wrote to the judge before sentencing, Jordan said, "I ran back to the car and left. I was scared about what happened, and at the time I was so scared I didn't know what to do." Regarding texting Nikki about her dance moves, she said, "It was my personal way of maybe just trying to calm down." During the trial, Jordan continued to show a lack of emotion. At some points in the proceeding, the judge thought maybe there would be some emotion, but that did not exist. She had a rare display of emotion when speaking to Cody's family through tears, saying, "I still love Cody. If he were alive, I would tell him that every day. I ask myself daily why I didn't make different decisions." She still hasn't come up with an answer. She told the FBI investigators she still loved Cody and did not want a divorce. "It was a moment of complete shock and panic. I have no other explanation," she told Cody's mother, Sherry. "Instead of building a life with Cody, I took God's greatest blessing from you. I can't imagine how much pain I've caused you. Life is precious. It's a special gift, and I have to learn to appreciate it. It's too bad it took a tragedy for me to learn a simple lesson. No substances were involved in the incidences." She was thinking very clearly. Cody likely felt betrayal, fear, and excruciating pain after Jordan pushed him. As her husband lay in a pool of water at the bottom of the cliff, she drove away in his car, texting friends. She didn't know Cody was deceased. He could be alive, for all she knew. However, she drove off and left him there for several days before finding him. Cody's mother, Sherry, said, "Today and every day I feel like my heart is broken." She tearfully recalled moving to Kalispell from California in 2002, seeking a safer environment in Montana to raise her only son, who was a teenager at the time. She said her dream was to become a grandmother. She said her son's wedding day felt like her son began a new journey. "Our journey didn't have to end like this," she said before asking the judge to sentence Jordan to life in prison. Cody's uncle, Tim Manning, said that while he doesn't share his nephew's religious beliefs, he believes in the biblical mantra, "an eye for an eye." "I think Jordan should rot in jail." Jordan said she did not have the intention to take his life, but rather it was an instinctive reaction to Cody grabbing her arm. Going back to the evidence of the long black cloth found near Cody, which prosecutors believed Jordan used to blind him. Jordan also took her husband's car keys and removed his wedding ring before the altercation. One friend said she saw Jordan wearing Cody's ring the afternoon before the crime. Some suggest that the surprise Jordan told Cody that she had planned for the evening of July 7th was actually his life being taken, and the crime was premeditated, not an instinctive reaction like she claimed. Friends said Cody was delighted that his wife had a surprise for him. 10 letters from friends and relatives of Jordan urged the judge to be gentle with her sentencing. The letters described her as a humble Christian woman who was responsible and loved taking care of children. Her mother asked the judge for leniency so her only daughter could get out of prison, get a college education, and become a better member of society, saying, "Jordan is truly sorry for her actions. She told me that in letters, in our phone conversations, and in our visits." Her father described Jordan as a non-confrontational young woman and a mature role model who encouraged other young women to live by the pillars of their faith by obeying their parents and studying the Bible. Jordan didn't smoke cigarettes, didn't consume substances, didn't drink, didn't say a dirty word, and she kept herself until marriage. She did not date anyone who has not professed faith. The couple had never lived together or spent the night together before their wedding night. Jordan had dropped out of community college to dedicate herself to her new life as Cody's wife. Jordan wanted to settle down and be a mother and a housewife after she and Cody were married. Kim said, "Your Honor, to be straightforward, many of us have nightmares about Jordan. I don't sleep well knowing that she and her family had no problem lying in your court." Defense attorneys played part of the video from the wedding that shows the happy couple laughing and smiling at each other and kissing after the first dance. Jordan cried when the video was played. Sherry said her son had a life insurance policy that she and his father purchased when he was 4 months old. She did not know if Jordan knew about the policy. Sherry said she had been in contact with Jordan since her son's disappearance and did not initially suspect her of taking his life. In fact, she tried to comfort her during the prayer service after he was found. She said Jordan was kneeling in prayer when she approached her, saying, "I put my arm around her. I told her everything was going to be okay. Cody is with Jesus now." She said Jordan did not respond. She later tried to coordinate with Jordan about going through Cody's belongings, but Jordan told her she was taking his things to Goodwill. Her little brother said Jordan could not have told us the truth. She told one lie. She was asked to tell the truth, and she said it again. He choked out between sobs, and she had to keep adding more lies to cover it up, and that's maybe why I was mad. Jordan said she was unhappy after the wedding, partially because of her strict religious upbringing. Jordan was afraid to have sex with Cody. She expressed doubts about their sexual relationship. "I just know he is gonna want to do things I don't want to do." She texted Kim, who suggested she tell her husband if she didn't want to have sex. She said, "I feel like it's my job to make him happy, even if I'm miserable." Kim encouraged her friend to discuss her feelings with Cody, confident he would respect her wishes. On All That's Interesting website, user RadarMan1946 commented, "What does this tragic, crazy story have in common with literally thousands of other crazy, tragic stories?" The answer is the words "deeply religious," describing the criminal. Religion making people insane and cruel for thousands of years. ETZman2112 replied, "Exactly. They shield people from the natural act of sex and make it taboo. This is the result. Albeit an extreme example of nothing ever good comes from pretending sex isn't a normal thing for all of us." Malia Jansen replied, "I hate to break it with you, but I come from a conservative religious community in Southeast Asia where most of us wait until marriage to lose our virginity. None of us have killed our husbands. The divorce rate is sky high, though, but that's a different story altogether. I do read a lot of true crime stories from the USA. It does seem that people get their lives taken there for the slightest thing. What do you think? Personally, I think you should have a conversation with your partner about their views on sex before committing to them for life. I definitely don't think her taking his life has anything to do with her religion.